The Innovators is brought to you by the Jamaica Yellow Pages, Heart Trust NTA, the Jamaica Observer, First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union, and Future Services International. Meet the Innovators, Yannick Page and Gary Matalin. Over the next several weeks, they'll be helping aspiring and struggling entrepreneurs to make more money. Yannick Page launched her first business at age 17 and knows how to start a business on a shoestring budget. She's a certified trainer in entrepreneurship and workforce innovation and is also the founder of the award-winning company, Future Services International. Gary Matalin is the co-founder and director of New Stone Limited. This successful entrepreneur is also the co-founder of KLE Group, owners and operators of Fiction Lounge and Usain Bolt's Tracks and Records. This week, they will be joined by guest innovator Gladstone Barrett, manager of Hearts Agricultural Institute, Ebony Park.
Gary and Gladstone. Today we have a female farmer. Her name is Terine Sewell and she needs some help. So let's take a look and see what we can do.
I am Terine Sewell. I am 27 years of age and I am a farmer. Well, as a child growing up, my grandmother, she actually grew pigs and chicken. That's where I got my first experience from. And when I finished university, it was difficult finding a job. With my passion that I have for animals, that was like one of the easiest business to start. So traveling from Kingston to Bogwalk on a regular basis, it is pretty challenging. What I do to combat that challenge is housing is provided actually on the farm, so I actually stay there sometimes. Usually customers ask that their pig weigh a certain pound. Nobody wants anything that's over 100 pounds unless they're in the jerk business. I do not have a customer who's in the jerk business. If I have a pig or pigs that reach 6 months, weighing say 100 pounds to 110 pounds, and I don't get that sell within that time frame, then that's where my problem really comes in. Mortality is like very difficult to deal with. Recently I bought 2,000 chickens, and due to the weather and the climate and the rain, within 1 week I actually lost 130 baby chicks. I actually broke down and I was like, oh my God, this is so frustrating.
Alright, so I have a lot of questions for Terine. Can't wait to meet her, so let's bring her in.
I am very nervous to meet the Innovators. However, I am extremely excited and I'm really hoping that they can actually help me to solve all the problems that I'm currently facing.
Hi Terine.
Hi.
Welcome. But first of all, you don't look like a farmer. Are you're the farmer?
Yes, I am. A lot of times when I approach people, they stereotype me. They're like, you're not a farmer. What I'm trying to do, I print some business card to show that, hey, here's my card, this is what I do. Sometimes I walk around with my butcher's license.
Give me a bit about the production side as well as your channels of distribution.
Okay, in terms of production, what we do, we bought animals, goats, chicken, pigs, and then from there we bred them on the farm, and then we raise them up until they're ready to get in the market. Then we process them on our plants, and from there we would distribute and sell to like wholesalers, meat shops, and restaurants.
I'm Colin Bruce from Food Delight, and we take a lot of meat from Miss Sewell, which we find as very high quality over the years. I choose to purchase from Miss Sewell because her quality and dependability. If she says she's going to deliver Tuesday or Friday, we don't have to call the canteen to find out if the meat is there. We just know that it will be there and fresh.
Your issue is the distribution.
That's one of my major issues.
You're not having any issue on the farming side. You're comfortable on the farming side?
On the farming side, my problem is sometimes neighbors complain about stench from the farm, the scent It is in a somewhat residential area. So from time to time, I find out the inspector, she will say that, hey, Miss Sewell, I got a complaint from somebody. So that's one of the challenges that I face.
Why did you select that location? Is it a property that you own? Are you leasing the property?
It's an old farm that we lease.
It's an old farm that you leased?
Yes.
So it's actually zoned as a farm. You haven't gone into housing development and started to raise. What's the size of the land?
It's approximately 2 acres.
What about your productivity? For example, in your poultry operation, is that a broiler operation or is it a layer operation?
Broiler.
So in terms of feed conversion ratio, do you have the kind of data that will enable you to calculate that to determine your level of productivity?
Well, in terms of that, usually information that I got from the companies that I bought chickens from, usually they say that at the end of 6 weeks, you should be averaging 3.5. That's the average weight for each bird, for birds. And usually I would come out to that average weight.
That's good, but how much feed did the animal consume to give you that 3.5 pounds?
Well, to feed 3,000 chickens for 6 weeks, I'll use, say, like 480 bags of feed. I do not have an official accounting system in place. How I calculate my profit to determine if I'm making a profit or a loss, what I do is I have a feeding guide that tells me, okay, at 6 weeks, they should be getting ½ pound. Then at 4 months, they should be getting 4 pounds. So what I do, I calculate that. And then I say at the end of this 6 months, this is what this pig is going to weigh. This is what it's going to cost. Then I'll subtract and know if I'm making a profit or a loss.
You used only the feed as the input. What about the cost of maintaining that farm? What about paying the workers? What about your own salary?
I do calculate that, but I don't calculate my salary because I don't take a salary.
You have to be more deliberate because, you know, this is not a hobby, it's a business. So therefore you can't depend on personal relationship with the pig to identify the pig. You have to tag it. Your inventory must be tagged.
Coming up on The Innovators.
I'm concerned that she's not aggressively going after a market. You know, I just think that before you get into any kind of farming, you have to establish where your market is. I need to debunk this myth about money. There are so many entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs who say, I have a good idea, I just don't have the money, right? Money is usually not your major problem, you know. That's one. Two, it's unlikely that you're going to find an angel investor who will come along and invest in your idea when you haven't put any money in it. So you literally have to be prepared to make personal sacrifices. Me, when I was starting my business, I sold assets, personal assets. What are you going to give up? Would you be willing to give up your house? Would you be willing to sell your car? You really have to make a personal sacrifice because it's hard for you to ask a bank or to ask a credit union or to ask a friend to put money in your company when you yourself have not demonstrated that you're confident enough to give up something for that. So just make sure that when you are preparing to ask for money, ask yourself first, what am I willing to give up? What sacrifice am I willing to make? Because I am so confident in my idea and my business.
Terine leaving University of Technology, she started a farm. Like after so much years of studying, instead of doing business administration or being in a big company, is a farm. But at the end of the day, everybody needs something to do.
I would say to recent graduates like myself, if you finish university and you're unable to get a job, it's okay to be an entrepreneur. And farming is a business. It's actually fun to see goats being born and actually see them grow up, and it's like you care for them. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, do I want to kill that for me? It's frustrating, but it's a very, very good business. It comes with its challenges just like any other business, but it is good, and I would encourage anybody to go into farming.
Terine, are you a part of any kind of association, you know, where members are in similar businesses and could assist you with some of the challenges that you're having?
Well, I'm a part of the Goat Farmers Association.
What about the local Jamaica Agricultural Society branch?
No, I'm not associated with
The
them.
RADA, do you visit with them? Do you have an established relationship with your extension officer?
Sometimes their representative from RADA would actually come and visit the farm. We raise our animal in a very clean environment. Everything that comes out of that farm has been inspected by an inspector.
So, Terine, tell me a bit more about your staff complement. Who else is in your organization?
That's one of my biggest problems. Sometimes I have a problem with workers. They tend to get a little bit lazy. They tend to slack off.
Terine, I think we have a good amount of information about your business. What we're going to do now is we're going to take some time and strategize a bit and see if we can get you on a direction that is going to bring you some better results than what you've been getting. So give us a little while and we'll see you back shortly.
I'm concerned that she's not aggressively going after a market. You know, I just think that before you get into any kind of farming, you have to establish where your market is. I think the big mistake we have in this country is that you have a lot of people, even though I'm not a farmer, never been in the business, but a lot of people just start a farm, they have no idea, can they get these things sold, and they need to actually check with rather, you know, join the Jamaica Agricultural Society, etc., and find markets for their products before they start producing.
You are so right, Yanni. I think we have in Terine a very enthusiastic young woman who has seized the opportunity to start a business. She has rented a property and she got started, but I think some of the fundamental issues are missing. I don't think she has a coherent business plan that articulates the strategies with the numbers properly crunched to ensure profitability. Clearly, the broiler operation is the cash cow in this kind of business because every 42 days you're able to turn out a flock of birds.
Why not go all chickens?
Well, I get the feeling that it might have something to do with love affair. You can get closer to the pigs and the goats. And
you chop off their heads?
Essentially. And the chickens, you can't know them by name.
That can't be the reason, Gladstone.
Seriously, I think it has to do with diversification, which is not something bad. But clearly, I think she should probably focus in the first instance on getting the chicken business right.
Well, that sounds good to me. I think we have a plan.
I like it.
I'm shocked that we actually came up with a plan, Gary, because we didn't know anything about this, but I'm excited for her now. I'm ready to bring her back in.
Glad for Gladstone.
Yeah.
Hi Terine, welcome back. So listen, I take my hat off to you because here it is, you did your theoretical training in banking and finance, but yet you've turned around and gone into farming. What needs to happen now clearly is you need to start developing the business beyond where it is, and you need to look at some growth and expansion. But what we have discussed is we think that before you get into any real growth strategy and start executing on your growth and expansion plans, you need to fix some of your basic management and organizational issues that exist, and then that will better position you for the growth and expansion and increase your chances for success when you go that route. Because if you get bigger with some basic problems, all that's going to happen is those basic problems will become bigger problems.
So pretty much that's it, Terine. I mean, what we want you to do is to fix the problems and in order for you to grow. And so we look forward to seeing you back here for you to report to us exactly what's been happening. But I expect good things from you. Love your drive, so good luck.
It's now time for the assignments.
Welcome to Ebony Park. I'm going to show you our house over here, and then you can tell me some of the problems you have, and let's see how we can help you. Terine, this is our standard chicken house. We have 3 houses here. This is number 1. We have 2 others. Okay. In here we place about 5,000 birds per flock. We use automatic watering system for drinking purpose.
You name them or just number?
It's a numbering system for the identification for each animal.
Oh, I was wondering if that's a name. One of my major problems is the stench. And you find where neighbors complain. So in terms of the lime wash, how often do you guys do that?
Well, we white lime every other week because the white lime helps also to cut down on the stench. And we use chemicals over here, mild chemicals such as bleach and soap as sanitizers.
I really appreciate all the technical advice that I've gotten from Ebony Park. I strongly believe that this experience will definitely help me a lot and help me to be a better farmer.
Coming up on The Innovators.
So Terine, the question that we all want to know is the main reason you came here. You were struggling before. Are you making more money?
I started out from the age of 17 and I started sewing for myself, my friends, and from there on, it just become like a career for me. A friend sent some money from America for me to buy a machine, and I bought the machine. That's where I start from. I would like to take my business out of my house to a proper business location and employ people to work with me. Since I got the location, businesses turn out so well. It's been good so far. What I'm doing now, I'm doing more weddings and business suits and evening dresses. I got a lot of support from Jamaican people. I get a lot of calls. I want to thank them all for supporting me.
Hi.
Hi, Dale Dixon, First Heritage.
Terine, welcome to my farm.
A pleasure.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, I actually just finished feeding the goats.
Okay.
I'm just going to take you upstairs.
Right.
This is where I raise the goats and just tell you a little bit about what I do.
Sure.
Okay. These are goats, 3-4 months old. That's pretty much just wean. Over here is also where I keep rams, but they are older sets.
Right, I see that. They're big.
Yeah. So I'm going to take you around the side where we raise the chickens, okay? I have 2 chicken houses. One of them can accommodate up to 3,300 chickens.
The operation seems well laid out as far as the equipment with the air coolers and even the way you have actually structured how you produce your goats. It really speaks to organization. That's very commendable.
So this is chicken house 2. These chickens here, they're actually baby chicks.
Okay.
They are about a week old, currently in the brooding stage. So these are the trays that we use to put the chickens in.
The live ones?
Yes, to transport them from the chicken house to the slaughter. I currently have approximately 200 pigs, right, but I just built 2 extra pens because I want to expand.
Now to have a tour of your farm and have a better feel for what's happening, I have a few suggestions and things that you might find useful. Basically, I think will probably even improve the way you market and sell your products. When you think about the market you're actually competing in, with the chickens especially, you already have 2 major players out there. What is noticeable about them, they're consistent in quality and consistent in packaging. But the chicken is only one of 3 items that you deal with, because you deal with goat meat and you deal with pork. Yes. So the uniformity should also transfer to those as well, in that your packaging, your labeling should be consistent. That way they can relate your brand to quality and also something desirable. Now you think about the fact that your distribution, how do you distribute your meat? You're telling me that you sell to restaurants, you sell to individuals. Now usually a supermarket or a chain of supermarkets is what penetrates the market a bit more, especially with meat. And once you have that uniformity you spoke of earlier, of packaging as well as quality, you'll find, and also supply, you'll find that these places will buy from you. You can enter the market by having processed meat. Instead of just the fresh produce, you can have processed meat. And at FHC we have alliances with the Scientific Research Council who does processing of meat. We believe in relationships. And you're a part of the family of First Heritage now. So as any good parent, we like to take care of our children. And that's how we look at our members.
It's now time for Terine to update the innovators on her progress.
Miss Sewell, it's great to see you back here. I know that you've done a lot since you were last here, so fill us in. What's been happening?
I went to Ebony Park, I must say, as you guys suggested, and I must say I found it very informative. In terms of my technical skill, it has improved. Also, in terms of getting educated persons or persons who studied my line of business, that is still in the pipeline. In terms of the stench.
The stench?
Yes, I got that fixed, and everything is running smooth.
Terine, you also had a problem with pigs. You really had too much pork on your hands, and have you been able to get rid of it? Have you found a market? What are you going to do with your oversupply of pork?
Well, in terms of that, there is still a glut on the market. However, what I did was actually lowered my price a little bit more to
try and get rid of them.
So Terine, the question that we all want to know is the main reason you came here. You were struggling before. Are you making more money now? Are you on your way? Where are you?
I think I am definitely on my way to be making more money. Definitely.
Terine Sewell is such an inspiration. She's a perfect example of where there's a will, there's a way. She has gotten into farming, she's self-taught, she's gotten the knowledge and expertise on the technical level just by the sheer desire to want to do it. And that's really inspirational. I'm extremely impressed with her drive and just her overall intelligence. I mean, where she's gotten and how she's gotten there is amazing.
Terine is a classic case of a young person who has done a degree in an area where she just can't find a job. Almost a year out of work after completing a degree in banking and finance. So what did she do? She said, okay, I'm going to create my own job. That's fantastic. And that's a good way to go. But the problem is you don't just go and create a job in an industry where you have no knowledge. And I think that's a critical lesson for everybody. If you are going to go into an industry, if you're going to start a business of any kind, you have to have your research done. You have to know exactly how to do what you plan to do. If you don't have that knowledge yourself, you have to hire the talent. You have to buy that knowledge. But I think it's so positive because I feel so good for her. I know that she's on her way. It is very possible to make quite a bit of money out of agro-processing, out of agriculture. And I think Terine will be on her way to doing very, very well, hiring more people, feeding Jamaica, and she'll make us proud.
Terine is an exciting young woman, and it was indeed a pleasure working with her over the past couple of weeks. She's clearly somebody who is driven by success, and she understands the need to get the information necessary for a business to thrive. And therefore, you must equip yourself with the requisite technical skills for success. We have no doubt that she will do well, and there will be a lot of persons who can copy her example, because agriculture is a discipline that can make money if you do it the right way.
What I want to say to you Jamaicans, people out there like me, if you guys want to go ahead and do farming, it is perfectly fine. You can always go ahead and do it. It is a great venture. It just takes a lot of responsibility and dedication.
The boardroom table and chairs were provided by the Stationery and Office Supplies Limited. For people who mean business, Gary's wardrobe was provided by Max Brown Limited. Next time on The Innovators.
When I started the organization, I started with $0, no capital. As a matter of fact, I took my first month rent and pay for the shop.
You hit a key word, partnerships, because when she is accredited in certain units, but maybe another institute might be accredited in other units, that a partnership would definitely be key for her, because she has worked hard and she has a successful business in terms of its reputation and its integrity. It's just getting it together, keeping it tighter, and making it profitable for her.
For further information on any of our assignments, please visit us at facebook.com/innovatorstv or email us at innovatorstv@gmail.com. The Innovators was brought to you by the Jamaica Yellow Pages, Heart Trust NTA, the Jamaica Observer, First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union, and Future Services International. The Innovators.